Hello everyone, this is Samina Institute of Technology, Science and Humanities Department. So, semester 4th, Principles of Economics and Management. The subject code is 3140709. It is the subject code 4th SEM. Abbreviation कहे तो PEM, Principles of Economics and Management. So let's start chapter 7, Functions of Management and Organizational Structures. This is the title of the chapter 7. Section A and section B. Section A में हम functions of management, planning, organizing, stuffing, directing, leading and controlling. And in section 2B we are going to discuss types of organization structure, span of control, factors affecting centralization and departmentalization. So there are two sections A and B in chapter 7. So let's start from section A. Functions of management. ये क्वेश्चन GTU में मई 2019 में पूछा गया हुआ है. So what is called the functions of management? A person who holds a management position inside an organization is required to think strategically and conceptually in order to achieve organizational goals. Management has to carry out different functions in order to accomplish these goals. So first of all, he or she has to plan, to organize, stuffing, directing, controlling. So what is his or her goal? So management has to carry out different functions in order to accomplish these goals. So first of all, every person has to fix the goals in his mind. The major functions that a manager completes can be characterized into 5 different functions. Which are the 5 different functions? Planning, organizing, stuffing, leading and controlling. So these are the 5 functions. Management must first plan, then organize according to that plan, recruit the staff, lead staff to work towards the plan, and finally evaluate the effectiveness of the plan. These 5 functions must be performed properly and goal is achieved. This becomes the reason for organizational success. In the subsequent sections, all 5 functions of management are discussed regarding nature. So planning, organizing, stuffing की हर एक के डिस्कस करेंगे. अंदर हम नेचर, इम्पोर्टेंस, concept and steps and limitations that we are going to discuss in these functions: planning, organizing, stuffing, directing and controlling. Number 1, planning. When organizations fixes the goals, it is essential to plan the steps necessary to achieve it. Although to fix the goal is one of the element of the plan also. So detailed and reached procedure is to be developed through which goals can be reached. So deciding in advance what to do. एडवांस में हमें डिसाइड करना है कि मुझे क्या what to do, how to do, why to do, where to do and who will be responsible for doing is termed as planning. प्लानिंग के डेफिनेशन का के deciding in advance what to do, how to do, why to do, where to do and who will be responsible for doing is termed as planning. Planning provides the basis for the other major functions of management also. In MNCs, the top management decides the goals of the organizations as a long for 5 years. For achieving these goals, managers of middle level and lower level management plans for short term duration. For achieving the goals, plans helps organization in following ways. The organization secures the resources required to accomplish the goals as per the plan. The organization carry out activities which is consist with the objectives of organization. And number 3, outcome of activities is monitored and compared with the plan. If it is not as per the plan, then rectifying actions are performed, and hence organization is not diverted from the goals. Now we are going to discuss about importance of planning. Planning is very important function for effective management. Without proper planning, it is impossible to achieve the set objectives. An organization will not have any direction, and hence organization will be diverted from the set objectives. So due to following reasons, planning is an essential part of the management. Number one, focuses on the organizational goals. Planning helps the organization to focus on organization's goals and objectives. So actions of the management are always in line with the set goals. Hence, planning does not allow organizations to deviate from its goals. Number two, provides the direction towards achieving the goals. Planning draws the path for the organizations, and hence for organizations members it is easier to move towards to the right directions of achieving the goals. Reduces uncertainty. If planning is properly carried out, then hurdles of the path can be easily traced out. So what happens then? Hence planning reduces high level of uncertainty and minimizes the risk. Ensures coordination. Planning establishes coordinated efforts among the members of the organizations. If proper planning is not done, then activities of departments and organization member will mesh up and lead to failure in the organizations. So planning ensures coordination and hence prevent the organizations from deviating from the objectives. Reduces overlapping of work also. Through effective coordination, duplication of work is significantly reduced and hence avoid the overlapping of work also. Facilitates control, since continuous monitoring of the progress enables the organization to keep the activities in accordance with the goals of organizations. Hence planning also facilitates the control also. Lead to success. Effective planning leads to reduction in uncertainty, ensure coordination, reduces over planning of work also. Focus on target only, okay, what to do and how to achieve the goal. Steps of planning. Following are the steps which are involved in planning. Set the goals to be achieved. The first step, which is essential for planning, to set the goals for the organization, which is mostly done by top management. Clearly define the objective helps the middle and lower level management in planning their actions in advance. Establish planning premises. Along with setting the goals of organizations, certain assumptions about the future is made. So considering the effect of business environment, forecasting the future demand as well other constraints, organizations are selecting their targets and plans accordingly. Prepare contingency plans. Assumption made in the previous step may go wrong, and hence for organization it is mandatory to have contingency plans along with the regular plan also. Evaluate and select a course of action. After identifying the possible courses of action, the next step is to evaluate each of the alternates and select the best action which is in range of premises and organizational goals. Develop derivative plans. Derivative plans is a plan which is based on the master plan decided by the top management. This plan break down the year-wise plans into month-wise plan and so on. Derivative plans give clearer picture compared to master plan, and hence realistic picture is visualized. Measuring and controlling of the progress. Finally, after preparing the plan, organizations have to monitor the progress towards the goals. If there is there is any change in the direction, corrective actions are taken to control the progress towards the goals. Now, limitations of planning. Planning is very time consuming, expensive process. Planning sometimes may hinder the functioning of the organization in stable condition. So organization may lose valuable opportunities also. Since planning is based on many assumptions, it is difficult to adjust due to sudden change in market situations. And it is difficult to accommodate unseen change, and hence planning lacks flexibility. Organizing, once the goals are set by the top management, middle lower level management has to follow derivative plan. According to it, managers divide the task into many subtasks and allocate activities and resources to the groups having hierarchy. Organizing function includes the development of organization structure which can accomplish the task. If such organization is not existing, for accomplishing the targets, group of people may be changed. So managers must have the ability to identify the ability to different people to accomplish the given set of objectives. Concept of organizing. There are two essential concepts regarding with organization. Organizing is a structure of relationship. Organization involves a large number of groups which can be referred as a structure of relationship. In fact, under the process of organizing the relationship between departments, groups and individuals are carefully analyzed through the process of communication system with the aim to establish proper coordinating system among them. So that this thus it is clear that organization can be considered as a structure of relationship. Organizing is a set of process also. The concept of organizing can be divided as a set of processes because a large number of activities are involved under the process of organizing with a view to accomplish the predetermined goals. In fact, organizing involves division of works, determination of activities, grouping of activities, delegation of authority, and the establishment of proper coordination also. So on the whole, it is clear that the objective of business firm cannot be obtained by doing single activity. Now we are going to discuss about explain principles of organizing. So the organizing process can be done efficiently if the managers have certain guidelines so that they can take decisions and can act according to that. To organize in an effective manner, to the following principles of organization can be used by a manager. Number one, principle of specialization. According to the principle, the whole work should be divided among the subordinates on the basis of qualifications, abilities, and skills. It is through division of work as specialization can be achieved, which results in effective organization. Principle of functional definition. According to this principle, all the functions should be completely and clearly defined to the managers and subordinates. This can be done by clearly defining the role, responsibilities, and authorities. So clarification in authority responsibility relationship helps in achieving effective coordination. Number three, principles of span control. According to this principle, span of control is a span of supervision which depicts the number of employees are to be controlled effectively by a single manager. According to this principle, a manager should be able to handle what number of employees under him should be decided. This decision can be taken by choosing either from a wide or narrow span. Next, number 4, principle of scalar chain. Scalar chain is a chain of command or authority which follows from top to bottom. With the chain of authority available, wastage of resources are minimized, communication is affected, overlapping of work is also avoided, and easy organization takes place. A scalar chain of command facilitates workflow in an organization, which helps in achievement of effective results. As the authority flows from top to bottom, it clarifies the authority dispositions to managers at all level, and that facilitates effective organization. Principle of unity of command, it implies one subordinate, one superior relationship. Every subordinate is answerable and accountable to one boss at one time. This helps in avoiding communication gaps, and feedback and response is prompt. So unity of command also helps in easy coordination and hence and therefore effective organization. Centralization refers to the level up to which the decision making process is centralized in organization. Mostly top management has always kept the authority regarding taking all decisions with themselves only. Centralized organizational structures rely on one individual to make decisions and provide direction for the company. So this condition exists if the organization does not found any person at lower level who is competent to take decisions. Advantages: centralized organizations can be extremely efficient regarding business decisions. Business owners typically develop the company's mission and vision. Disadvantage क्या है? तो centralized organizations can suffer from the negative effects of several layers of bureaucracy. So these business often have multiple management layers stretching from the owner down to frontline operations. Business owners responsible for making every decision in the company may require more time to accomplish these tasks also. Decentralization, on the other hand, if the top management has given authority to their subordinated for taking the decision within their domain area, then this is said to decentralization of authority. Decentralized organizational structures often have several individuals responsible for making business decisions also. Decentralized organizations rely on a team or environment at different levels in the business. Individuals at each level in the business may have some autonomy to make business decisions. No organization is totally centralized or totally decentralized. So advantage क्या है? Decentralized organizations utilize individuals with a variety of expertise and knowledge for running various business operations. A broad-based management team helps to ensure the company has acknowledgeable directions or managers to handle various types of business situations. These advantages, these decentralized organizations can struggle with multiple individuals having different opinions on a particular business decisions. Difference between centralization and decentralization is given in the table overleaf. So this is the difference between centralization versus decentralization. Top management takes all decisions and has tight control. Other levels of management are authorized to take decisions. This is the wise difference between centralization and decentralization. Centralization is only possible in stable environment. Under complex environment, decentralization is possible. Sometimes due to lack of competent people, centralization is adopted. Authorized people are competent to take decision. For small business organizations, decentralization is adopted. In MNCs, centralization is adopted. Factors affecting centralization. Number one, size of the organization, terms of sales, number, plants, and number of employees affects the decentralization of authority. Did you observe that the speed and adequacy of decision making, flexibility and efficiency are enhanced through decentralization of authority in case of a very large multi-product, diverse and complex organization. Number two, history and age. The size of organization, the degree of decentralization depends upon history and ages of organization. If it is organized by an individual, then in such kind of organization there will be centralization of authority. But in case of business activities, when there is merging being done, there is decentralization of authority. Number 3, philosophy of top management. Decentralization of authority depends upon philosophy of top management. It is seen that if the owners manage the enterprise, there is delegation of authority, but in professionally managed enterprise, decentralization is of authority is seen. Competent personnel, more personal at lower personal, more policy of decentralization of authority. Number 5, strategy and organizational environment. So it is the basis of determining decentralization of authority and centralization of authority. Nature and management function. The degree of decentralization of authority is influenced by nature and management functions. Generally, functions like production and sales are more decentralized, and finance, personal, research, development are highly centralized. Control techniques. Decentralization of authority is more when control techniques is used. When control system is reliable, there is better and higher decentralization of authority to the lower level. Number 8, dispersion of organizational plans. Decentralization of authority also depends upon dispersion of organizational plans of the organization. So organization has officer of the different types located at different places. That's why decentralization of authority becomes necessary. And next one is stuffing. Man is one of the most elements of 4 MS necessary for organization. Without sufficient efficient manpower, it is impossible to run the business. Organization must recruit these employees who are able to meet the need of the organization's goals. So recruitment of appropriate person as well as his training is considered as critical for the growth of organization. Further, retention of the employee is very important, since trained people can lead to get back to growth of the organizations. So management of human resources is considered as stuffing. Importance of stuffing. It increases production by putting right person at right place. Through stuffing, it is possible to identify the talents of the employee. It prevents underutilization of human resources. It helps to identify various sources of recruitment selection. It brings fresh blood having updated knowledge of technology. It avoids the selection of wrong employee also. Here thank you very much everyone. Process of stuffing. As shown in figure, manpower is the base of identifying the need of special person. As manpower planning we are going to discuss. So thank you very much dear all.